Following the midterm elections, a number of Democratic candidates won governorships throughout the country. And as a result, lawmakers in the lame duck session in states like Michigan and Wisconsin have been attempting to strip power away from the incoming Democratic governors. Now, Chuck Todd wanted to cover this on his show, and he did so by drawing up false equivalencies. Take a look.
In Wisconsin, the Republican legislature has approved a set of bills that essentially would strip some power from the newly elected governor and attorney general. Why, you might ask? Well, the newly elected governor, Tony Evers, and the newly elected attorney general, Josh Kaul, are newly elected Democrats. The newly defeated two-term Governor Scott Walker has indicated that he does plan to sign the bills that would, among other things, give the Republican legislature control over some major appointments and reduce early voting, which tends to benefit the Democrats in Wisconsin, down to 2 weeks. Across the lake in Michigan, the Republican legislature is taking similar steps against the incoming Democratic governor and attorney general there as well. Now, this has happened before in many a legislature. Democrats, in fact, have done this in the past to Republican governors in lame duck sessions in other states.
What? And it ended there. I mean, he immediately went to the interview after that. He did not provide an example for what he means when he says that Democrats have been doing this as well. He said, to be fair, in the past. So, all right, maybe there's something that we missed, right? Let's do our research. Let's see if there's something that we messed up on, because we want to make sure that if Democrats are doing something wrong, as they have done in the past on other issues, we want to make sure you're aware of it. We're not on anyone's team. We want to give you the truth. No, nothing recently at least. There was one example that 538 mentioned from 1999, and it wasn't even really an example because in this particular case, in the state of Alabama, both Democrats and Republicans agreed to the changes. Let me give you the details on that. Again, this is 1999. Alabama Senate Democrats took some of the lieutenant governor's appointment and legislative powers and gave them to the state's Senate President pro tem in 1999. However, both Republican and Democratic controlled state senates have decided to keep the lieutenant governor's power the same since the 1999 rule change. In fact, Republicans recently attempted to reduce the powers of Alabama's lieutenant governor even further. That was the only example from 1999.
So that's 19 years ago, but we're being too kind to Chuck Todd and too fair because we're progressive. So we're like, okay, let's search to see if there's any way that he's right. But the reality is, no, I don't even mentioning that, it makes it seem like it's a false equivalency that does not exist. It's just not true. So right now, it has that idea of stripping powers away is ascendant. It is ascendant based on 3 cases. It started in 2016. It's not like it's never been done in history before, but it is rare, and certainly lately it was exceedingly rare or non-existent. And in 2016, after the Republicans lost in North Carolina, they immediately looked to strip powers from the Democratic incoming governor. And now Wisconsin is doing the same thing, and Michigan is doing the same thing. And the number of Democratic states doing the same thing is 0, 0, 0, right? But Chuck Todd, look, it's not because he's a bad person. It's not because he's a Republican. I don't know what he is. He might be a Republican, but I have no idea, okay? They all are taught you must be neutral to the facts. The facts are not nearly as important as being neutral. You have to say, both sides do it, both sides do it. Hey, but do both sides do it? It's irrelevant, Chuck. Just go out there and tell them both sides do it because we don't want to offend Republicans.
So I actually have some insight in this because I had a conversation recently with someone who is a longtime producer in mainstream news. And this person was actually very forthright with me and told me the reality of why it is they equivocate or why it is that they seem to have a right-wing bias in the mainstream press. He admitted this, someone who's actually not a Republican. I want to give you the details on that in our post-game show today. And so members get special perks, insider stories, and so I want you guys to check that out because it was an enlightening conversation for me, and it was something that I had already suspected.
So tyt.com/join to become a member and hear that story. But look, we've covered this a lot on the show. And every time you tell the mainstream media, they get super offended. Actually, one of our members through tyt.com/amplify bought Chuck Todd and Meet the Press Young Turks membership. So maybe they'll hear this And so we got news for you guys. Progressives are also pissed at you. You think only Republicans are, and you kowtow to them, and you make up facts to support their lies. And now progressives are super pissed at you because what you're doing is not just favoring Republicans, but you're favoring their lies. And that's an act that is the counter to journalism. So neutrality is not a standard in journalism. If you got taught that, that was nothing but a lie, because that equates the truth with lies. It equates facts with lies. And that is not what a journalist is supposed to do. A journalist isn't supposed to say, well, he said this and she said that. I can't figure it out. What am I gonna do, look it up? No, the job of a journalist is to look it up and to deliver their facts. And the correct way of introducing that story is Republicans have are trying to grab power in Wisconsin and Michigan, as they did in 2016 in North Carolina. And this has not happened for a long, long time. And in this case, it is completely one-sided. It is only the Republicans doing it and no Democrats. You say, well, I mean, that doesn't sound neutral. That's right, because the facts are not neutral. But yeah. I don't know if we're ever gonna get through them, or they're just, nobody's gonna watch eventually, and we're gonna be done with
that. Look, I think John Iadarola needs to have a talk with his big brother, Chuck Todd, and just, discuss how he's really doing a bad job on his show.
Yeah. Look, but we are really fair. Over the weekend, I did a video, and Chuck Todd had challenged someone, and I gave him credit for that. Because we're not looking to beat up the media for its own sake. We're not looking to destroy the media like the right wing is. No, we want to make it better. But in order, and if the Democrats are wrong, has anybody watched the Young Turks? We call them out definitely way more than Meet the Press does, or any other mainstream media outlet. We call out those Democrats, but you just can't sit there and say things that aren't true in an effort to make Republicans happy. And by the way, has that worked for you, Chuck? Are Republicans happy with the mainstream media? They sent bombs to the mainstream media. And Trump, to this day, in the middle of the bombs being received by CNN the other day, said, oh yeah, that's the enemy of the people. Does it look like you appease them by aiding and abetting their lies?
That's a great point.
It doesn't look like that worked at all. So why don't you try something radical, which is actually giving the facts, no matter which side they fall on. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.